Alright, what's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Book is entitled Lessons from a Non-Custodial Father at Amazon, Kindle, and Create Space. A link will be in the description box below as usual. This video is entitled Wanting Money Without Responsibility. I was watching a video about Floyd Mayweather, and he was like, people get too comfortable and you want my money, but you don't want my advice that goes with it. So what happens if I give you my money? In a sense, this part I'm making ad-libbing. So in a sense, what happens when I give you my money and you don't take my advice, and then you come back to me asking for money because you didn't know what to do with it? And I'm going to broaden this out because this is what's going on in society right now. Everybody wants money, but everybody doesn't want the responsibility. And that's a problem, big problem, because, your children want you to buy them everything, right? And we got this participation trophy culture where they want the world, but they want you to give it to them, but they don't want your advice on how to maintain the world that they build for themselves or want, or they will not even build the world for themselves. So that's the problem with wanting money without responsibility. You get people who are who feel entitled to the things that you've worked for or accomplished, and now you owe them for your hard work because you want the money, but see, you don't want to do everything it took for that person that you feel that should pay you for your existence. You don't feel responsible to go do the work that they had to go do to get the money, because you want the money, not the responsibility. And when they try to give you advice on how to keep the money or how to build on that money, you don't want to hear it because you never wanted to make the money work for you. You wanted the person who makes the money to work for you and not act as though that's not going to be a beef. Like, no, you're going to get cut off like that. And this is the society we live in. Everybody says, go get the bag, go get the bag. Is it your bag, or are you saying go get somebody else's money and then bring it back to do what with it? Because the point was made, which I will keep reiterating, you want my money, but you don't want my advice. See, when you have the mentality you just going to go out and get money and there's no responsibility, then you're reckless with it, and you're going to wind up at the same starting point at square one over and over and over again. So the question is, why don't you want the responsibility? Because I think, some of us are financially like children, where, if you give a kid $10 in a grocery store, they're going to buy $12 worth of candy and look at you like, but I wanted candy. You can count, right? Yeah. What does that equal? 12? How much did I give you? 10? Can you give me some more? And you're like, nah. You got to give something up. Some of them give it up. Some of them cry. Some of them put all the money back. Say, well, I don't need all this. I don't want to spend all of my money. Few of them do that, though. But that's what's going on with adults. Adults want you to give them, $10 and they go spend $12 on candy and then throw a tantrum with you if you say, nah, I can't do this with no adult. And not seeing it as if they're acting like children, right? Because you wanted the money, not the responsibility. And you see people fail with this over and over and over again. One of the things I've noticed is relationships revolve around wanting the money but not the responsibility. As far as divorce and child support, have you noticed that the mothers or ex-wives, when the money runs dry, they're looking for a new husband because they have no skills? They didn't want to take their advice. And even with the child support part, have you noticed that, the children, for the most part, are taken care of at the end of the day. And when the well runs dry, sometimes people try to get pregnant again. Because they never used that advice properly that went with the money, and they would have been fine because they're irresponsible. On the male side of it, if you acquire enough money, you can buy a chick, right? But you can't get mad at a gold digger because a gold digger isn't responsible to you, and you're not making her responsible to you. You're making her responsible. You're paying her to be a succubus because you use your money as bait, and there's no responsibility in that. Which is why some of you guys never work on self-improvement because you think your money's going to talk for you, and unfortunately it's just going to get you drained, whether temporarily or long term. Now, speaking of that, it's the same problem with business relationships. Sometimes you want an investor, but you don't want that investor's advice, and you don't want to answer to that investor, but you expect for them to give you their money, and they just be a silent partner when they have issues with the way you think you're going to make money, when obviously they know how to make money better than you because you asked them to be an investor, right? But you want the money without the responsibility. And this is, in my opinion, this is why some people aren't getting invested in like they used to, because there's a lot of scam artists with this. Is wide open though. That's the crazy part about it. I think the world is full with talent, and I think people wanting the money is diminishing talent because they're not responsible to honing their skills on their craft. They'll do anything for the money short term, and then they cash out, and then they wish they could get a second go around, and they would do it, and they would put a little bit more respect on whatever craft that it is that they've made money at, because you wanted the money, not the responsibility. You got to work at things, You see a lot of half-ass behavior because of this in culture. People don't want to admit that, but that's how it looks to me. You see a lot of people, wanting other people to finance them in their lifestyles and their occasions because they feel like they're important. You want you feel like you should be dining at a 5-star restaurant. You feel like you should be vacationing. You feel like you should be living the life. And you feel like somebody should be able to provide it for you, but the problem is this. You don't want to be responsible to that person either. See when you want to be around people who can afford you a certain lifestyle, you have to bring a certain skill to the table. You got too many people who are entourage members in people's lives because they wanted the money without the responsibility. I don't want to do nothing. Not a person you getting your money from and your check from is working every day to make money, but you want to hitch your wagon to them and not do anything and expect them to pay you. And you don't see a problem with that. That's ridiculous. That's very ridiculous. That, I was raised, if you break it, you buy it. You got people who want to use other people's things and borrow other people's things and destroy other people's things and just walk off and like, I was fly with it. I've seen people do this so many times. Take people's jewelry and lose it. Take people's cars and wreck them. You know what I'm saying? Borrow people's homes and completely, mess up stuff. But, it's okay, right? No, it's not okay. You break it, you buy it. But see, they wanted the money. They wanted the appearance of having money without the responsibility of fixing the things if they destroyed them. And this is part of the financial cycle that we're living in, where people are perpetual consumers because they want to get the money to pay for the image, but they're not responsible to their own legacy. You know, I remember hearing a lot of people saying, I want to get money and get a whole lot of money, get rich, buy a mansion, buy expensive cars, and I have my accountant watch over my money. If you was fortunate enough to make millions of dollars and you just put your money in front of an accountant, you're irresponsible. You don't even want to watch what you've worked for. You know what I'm saying? So you're going to lose it because you don't care enough about the money that you said you really wanted to have and be rich to even keep tabs on it. So you want to pay somebody else to keep tabs on it because you don't want to be responsible. And then when people get bled dry, it's everybody else's fault, which it is because that's bad and illegal. But it started with you being irresponsible. Too many people like that, you know. Too many people expect people to roll out the red carpet for them, whether they be family or friends, and they don't do anything about it. You know, if your family and friends invest in you and they get you to a certain point, and then you get to that point, you ride off into the sunset, so you could live your best life. You wanted them to invest in you, which they did, and they got you to a certain point, but you weren't responsible to them. And you don't necessarily have to be responsible to them. What about the people coming up under them? You know what I'm saying? Like if your uncle and aunt got you through school, and now you're off in the real world and you're making money, shouldn't it be your responsibility to get another family member like yourself in through school? But people walk off because they want the money without the responsibility. This is how people ruin inheritance. Ruin an inheritance and a legacy because, they died, they worked so many years, they put up money, they had a house for us, they did X, Y, Z to make sure we can start off on the right foot and provide for the rest of the family. But you know what? I just want the money because I want to turn up because I feel I deserve to turn up with my parents or whatever family member or friend's money that they left me in the will to better myself and better my situation, to better my family and friends. But I ain't gonna do all that. I'm gonna just ball out of control. You know, and which causes a lot of issues because once again, you took the money without the responsibility. And the funny part about it is, if you're responsible with the money, you'll make 10, 20, 100 times more. But when you're irresponsible, you know, the baller will turn into the beggar. So we out, fam. Peace.